When I was young, I didn't like being controlled by adults. I just wanted to grow up and stop depending on them. Later on, the people who loved me were gone. I felt the loss. I thought if I didn't rely on anyone, I wouldn't get hurt. That living alone might actually be fine. But things changed afterward. I had to go further. When I left, it felt just like another trip. But there was always a voice in my head. From now on, you are on your own.
2021年最后一天，12月31日，美国纽约。一个人搬家，从找房子到收拾东西，到搬东西，到租车，全部一个人搞定。我觉得我自己好厉害，什么都可以自己搞。现在去拿我的床，我在 Facebook 上找了一个卖家。想了好几个月然后终于找到有厨房可以做饭的住的地方。好像还不错，尝尝。能行。 第一次在美国买车，还是私人买家，但是高兴不起来，是因为好多事情都得我自己去处理，然后很多事情我也不是特别懂。实际上我已经来过3次，第一次是看车，第2次是签合同，今天把车开回去，因为我已经拿到牌照了。不知道怎么用。总之呢，我已经开到我的车了，然后我可以现在把它开回去。OK， 哦哟，找到一个停车位，哦吼！这地方离我住的地方还有2公里，我还要骑自行车才能骑回去。但是找到一个车位已经是很幸运、很不容易的事情。心情好棒！晚上跑完5公里，锻炼完，回来开空调吃西瓜，太开心了。去年的这个时候，在厄瓜多尔许了一个愿，我说明年夏天我想游泳吃西瓜，完美实现。今天是2022年12月31日，一会儿还要上班。There's another one. Hello, DoorDash.
Yes.
What name?
Mimi.
Okay, can I take a picture?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Have a good night, honey. Happy New Year.
You too.
During that time, things slowly started to make sense. Problems were solved, one by one. I began to adapt to the pace of life. But underneath, there was always a quiet sense of urgency. I kept trying to find balance under constant pressure. I thought I could handle it, that life would just continue like this.
昨天的时候，从一个路口出来，正好一个车过来，侧面撞到了一个门上。这个门要修起来的话，要花2、3千块钱。因为这个车才花了我5000块钱，所以只能当废品处理了，当 junk car 处理了。所以我心里特别难受。
Catalisator is very expensive.
Yeah, so you can't.
Maybe $1,000.
Yeah, so you can't just park it like that. It's an unsafe place.
Okay.
Just a reminder.
Bye.
Bye.
After 2 accidents, the cost of living went up drastically. Driving was no longer realistic, but life had to go on. I had to find another way. Delivering on an e-bike was too intense, and that bike kept breaking down, so I switched to a motorcycle. But nothing really changed. Every day, ride, pick up orders, deliver. It was enough to get by, and I could keep a little time for myself. But that time would be taken back by work at any moment. The line between work and life blurred. It felt like I had become a machine that couldn't stop, trapped in a loop. So at that point, I wanted to try a different way of living, to see if it could fix this, whether it would work. I had no idea.
Then I'm gonna check handbrake. Check handbrake, turn off trailer brake. Pull down handbrake and release service brake. And set match.
about trucking. I did like being on the road, going to different places, walking into different stores, seeing different faces. I was no longer stuck in the same place. But in the end, I was just stuck in a different way. Time was no longer taken in pieces. It was taken all at once. I didn't even have time to cook a proper meal. It wasn't balanced at all. So I realized the problem wasn't about changing jobs. It was about what kind of life actually works for me. Over the past few years, the pressure never really went away. No matter what I did, I couldn't stop. I kept trying, and it started to feel like the regular ways of living just didn't work for me. I wanted to find a kind of balance that fits me. If living on the road was a possible solution, then at least I needed a bigger space to live in.
Day. We are kicking off Associates Week 2025. I've got the whole crew in the building. Y'all give it up for Bo.
Hey, everyone.
The one and only Chris from the Chris Show.
I would like to get the transmission fluid change and a filter change.
Sure.
I just wonder if you can change the transmission fluid and the filter without dropping the substrate.
Without what?
Without removing the substrate. No?
No.
Oh.
It's impossible.
The entire floor within 1 minute. The vinyl sheeting is perhaps the only floor type that checks all the
After finishing work each night, I would go to a nearby grocery store. That night, they were selling peaches from local farms in New Jersey. I got a good deal and bought a whole bag. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of cars outside. A group of agents rushed into my house and took me away. I was allowed to call my family, but I couldn't dial directly. I only had one friend I could call to reach my family. Luckily, he picked up. That night was my first night in jail. I kept thinking about the work I hadn't finished, the peaches still in the fridge. No one could take care of any of it. I couldn't fall asleep. Without any connection to the outside, time slowed down a lot. I put a cup on the table, stood across the room, and kept throwing paper balls into it, again and again. Later, I was transferred to another facility, ended up in a dorm with a lot of other people. I got to know some of them. It didn't take long to realize being around others made time pass faster. I liked sitting in the yard, feeling the sun, listening to them pray. Sometimes they would come up to me, hug me, and offer blessings. At that time, I was still uncertain about the future, but it felt a little easier. After about a month, I was transferred to another pod, back to a small, isolated cell. That was the hardest time, not knowing when I would get out, how long this would last, and losing the people I had just gotten used to. I couldn't stay in the cell. I just kept walking all day, back and forth, with nowhere to go. Until my family and friends came to see me. People started to help me. Things got a little easier. A few days later, someone from the dorm transferred in. He became my bunkie. We talked a lot. We were both grateful for each other's presence. He once told me, two are always better than one. Later, I was transferred back again. It was good to see familiar faces and make new friends. Life was still repetitive, but with people around, it became easier to get through. Sometimes I would even forget my situation. I received letters from strangers. I would read them before sleep. My mind would quiet down. I could easily fall asleep. For a long time, I thought living alone was not a big deal. But I never understood why I always had trouble sleeping. It was during that time that I realized some things I just can't do on my own.